It's a roll call.
Let the record reflect Commissioners Ibarra, Newberg, Woods Gray are present, and we have a quorum. Madam President.
Thank you. Flag salute, a moment of silence.
Please join me in a moment of silence in honor of past and present members of the Los Angeles Fire Department who devoted their lives to the protection of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. So let's start with Commissioner comments. No? No. All right, so then we'll go to reports of the fire chief.
Thank you, Madam President. In the last couple of weeks, I've had the opportunity to ride out with our fast response vehicle 9, which is concentrated in Skid Row, as well as our sober unit in Skid Row. And very, very impressed with the people involved. They're truly passionate with the mission to help the people of Skid Row. I was with the FRV for 3 hours, and we had 9 runs in 3 hours. And it was nonstop incidents. And they understand that their primary purpose is to handle as many calls as they can to reduce the call load of Fire Station 9's resources. They're also tactical EMS paramedics, so they actually have a dual function. Whenever SWAT has a rollout, they assist SWAT, and they become their paramedics in case something happens to the officers. So very, very happy with that. The sober unit, we transported 3 of the people that wanted to go to the sober center. We went to the center, and I got to talk to them and understand a little bit better about what their plight was and what value we were bringing to the community. My takeaway from that is that people who work on the sober unit and the sober center have to be very patient and understanding. Many times, most of the time, the people that we bring to the center do not immediately enter recovery efforts or seek long-term housing. Sometimes it takes 20, 30 times of doing that. Independently, I asked 3 people there, are we bringing any value to this community? Is this program working? And I got a consensus that yes, because you never know when we're going to transport somebody where the light gets turned on and they want to get clean from whatever substance they're dependent upon. So that was very encouraging. On August 12th, I had the obligation, I feel, to attend the memorial services of LAPD officer Jose Diaz at the cathedral, a young man who was in his community and was shot and killed while off duty trying to protect his community. It was very sad, very emotional. It shows the unity of the police officers. They were there, of course, in large numbers, and our command staff was there out of respect. And police officers and firefighters are part of the public safety community, and we share their grief, and we honored the officer by wearing the memorial badge. Unfortunately, that day, a CHP officer was killed, so that's why we're wearing the mourning badge today. So very, very sad memorial. And then lastly, on a happy note, we had a press conference on August 15th in Wilmington to announce the opening of Light Force 38 and the upgrading of the engine to a paramedic assessment engine. Large media presence. Councilmember Buscaino was there. A great day for the Wilmington community since I grew up in Wilmington. And I was very proud to be participating in that event, as well as that the on-duty captain, Captain John Garnica, also is a Wilmington native and went to Banning High School like I did. So it was a very proud moment for me and Light Force 38 and the community of Wilmington. That concludes my report.
Thank you. So now verbal report by the department on significant incidents from July 18th through August 19th.
Good morning. Madam President, members of the Fire Commission, Chief DeRozes, Attorney Raffish, and to the management and staff of the Los Angeles Fire Department. My name is Armando Hogan, Deputy Chief in charge of Operations West Bureau. My purpose here today is to share with you a significant incident that recently took place in West Bureau. On Wednesday, August 7th, at roughly 07:10 hours, Operations West Bureau Resources responded to the northbound 5 freeway at the Los Feliz exit. This was Incident 321. The first responding units found a fuel delivery truck with a dual load that had rolled over, carrying roughly 7,500 gallons of diesel fuel. Initial reports were that there was less than 20 gallons of fuel in plain view on the surface of the freeway. After gaining additional situational awareness, our resources identified and stopped the leak, initiated a damming and diking operation, called for additional resources, which included our hazmat task forces, 95s and 21s, as well as support staff from Operations West Bureau and JHAT. Based on the quick actions of our firefighters, the fuel was contained and allowed us to reach out to the involved company for vacuum trucks and offloaders to transfer the fuel out of the tanker and onto other fuel trucks. There were no civilian injuries and no other vehicles were involved after the tanker truck jackknifed and rolled over. Additionally, there were resources on scene from CHP, Caltrans, LA County Fire Hazmat, and of course, local media. This was an extended operation, and we were not able to open up the northbound side of the freeway until nearly 5:30 in the evening. The southbound side of the 5 remained open throughout this event. Some of our challenges faced were waiting for the needed resources to assist with the transfer process. These trucks were coming from as far away as about 2 hours, plus travel time. Adding insult to injury were the Dodgers were playing a game that day, and that started at 1 p.m. Of course, the Dodgers won, so we felt better about the folks going home. At the height of this incident, there were nearly 75 firefighters providing service. Our members worked to dam, dike, stabilize, plugged, offloaded, and assisted with the uprighting of the trailer. I was personally able to watch much of this operation, very impressive and very professional. I'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. And I don't think we have any report from the medical director. No? And no presentations. So consent agenda items, we actually have comments on 4E. Mm-hmm. Okay, 2 comments on 4E. So if we can take 4A through 4D.
And can we have a, can I pull 4C and 4E?
4C and 4E. Okay, so then can somebody move 4A, 4B, 4D?
I so move.
Okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So then, okay, let's take them in order. 4C is report by the department on this Measure B funding, medical control agreement, Amendment 3 with LA County.
Doctor,
Oh, hey, Doctor.
at school, back to school, huh? I know it.
Good morning. My name is Zim Bamalu.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So this is the report on Measure B funding, medical control agreement with the LA County. Do you have a specific question, Dr. Ms. Woodsgray?
No, we'd just like to have an overview, a little explanation of what's actually happening with this.
Okay.
All it is we have this grant that we receive funding from LA County, and they decided to give us a one-time funding to buy equipment for $450,000.
So is it an increase in the budget, the amount of money that you're getting from LA County?
Yes,
What
that
is
is-
the,
It's an increase, but it's a one-time increase to procure equipment.
If I could speak to this a little bit, Zim, the allocation was an additional allocation of $440,000 to purchase the EGPWS, which is the Enhanced Ground Proximity Warning System. So this is actually a great benefit to us because we didn't have to use additional MICLA or lease money or money out of the general fund. We used money from Measure B, which was a county tax initiative passed several years ago that supports the trauma system. And helicopters qualify for this expenditure because they transport to trauma centers. So the purpose of this report is to document that we got an additional allotment of the $440,000.
Oh, it's a one-time thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. She wants to move it.
If you're ready to move it, yes.
I am.
Okay.
Okay. I move the recommendation for BFC 19-087 that the board approve and recommendations and transmit it to the city administrative officer for review.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now we have 4B, which is a report by the department on the fiscal year 2019-2020 cost of special service fee adjustments. So we can just have a brief presentation on it, and then there's going to be 3 different comments on it.
What that is the cost of special services that we analyze every year and increase. If there's an increase in cost, then we present it. So the current cost of special services hourly inspector rate is $254. So when we did the analysis, the cost increased from $254 to $258. So each time an inspector goes out to do an inspection, the hourly rate will be $258 instead of $254 for fiscal year 2020.
So $4 increase.
Right.
All right, and we're obligated to do an assessment
Every
year
year.
and then figure out how much it costs, and then we have to pursuant to the charter, right?
That's correct.
The administrative code. Okay. So, all right.
And do the fees go into the general fund, or where do they go?
General fund.
Yeah, the revenue generated by the fire department through these fees, as well as EMS transport fees and building permit fees, all goes back into the general fund.
Okay. All right. So let's hear from the public comments. So first one is Danny Stevens from Sprinkler Fitters Local 709.
Good morning.
Good
Thank you for your
morning.
time. So I represent the members of the Sprinkler Fitters Local 709. We focus strictly on fire sprinklers. So my concern today is the Reg 4. Inspection, testing, and maintenance is a huge component of the fire protection, making sure that the systems are going to be there and active when the fire department shows up. So the increase in the fees, if that money was being put back to staffing, our concern right now with the Reg 4 process is that it's a part-time staff. There's one inspector that actually gets to perform the tests. We have a part-time office staff, so we've actually reduced the amount of tests that the city is doing every year. There's just not enough manpower to process the paperwork, everything else. This is a nationally recognized program that the state of California, the state fire marshal's office currently is looking at a state program that's going to mirror that. And unfortunately, it's not quite the system that we think it is. I think we need to put some of that money directly back into staffing. That's the concern of our signatory contractors and our members. The integrity of these systems, we have a fire like in Oakland, it's going to look bad for everybody, the sprinkler industry, the city, the fire department, everybody. So that is our concern, is that the money is actually being put back, that the program is brought back to the glory days.
Okay.
Okay,
Got it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
thank you.
So then our next speaker is Daniel Venencia from ABRA Chess Company. I think that's what it says.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for your guys' time. I'm also here to talk about the Chief Regulation 4 program. I am the chairman of Los Angeles Fire Life Safety Committee, and I am one of the owners of ABNA Test Company. Our concern is the price per license for the Chief Regulation 4 program. Right now, you guys are looking to increase it to $1,548 per license. There's a total of 22 different licenses. So there's fire alarm license, fire pump, fire sprinklers. We are a small business, and we are looking to grow and expand our business. But with these rates, I have 18 different licenses. So if you do that times 1,548, it gets very expensive. We're seeing these increases happen every year, and we just recently figured out how to actually look and try to explain to the Fire Commission that these increases are not going to help the industry. A perfect example is, Alfredo, do you mind standing up, please? That's my father, Alfredo. He was one of the first ones to get his Reg 4 license about 34 years ago. This is the first year that we are not able to renew his licenses because we had to pay close to $9,000. We renewed 3 different licenses instead of the 16 that he had. So I think that the program needs to be looked at. I have been in contact with fire department regarding this issue, and I'm still kind of waiting to hear back on how we could look at the program and see how we could reorganize it so we could get the proper funding, going on what Danny said as well, get the proper funding. This is a massive program. We only have one inspector in charge of it right now, and the inspector is also doing a lot of different things. So, we want to make sure that LA City Fire Department, that the city is, most importantly, is the safest city in fire protection. I think we have a great opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
So, thank you guys very much.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for your comments. And we have one last comment from Queen Gonzalez from Intelligent Fire System Solutions, Inc. on the same item.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm just going to reiterate the same sentiment of the other gentleman that preceded me. I am also a small business, and what we do, I feel, is a contribution to life safety. We test these systems. We try to verify that and maintain their integrity. And as we are growing and there's more requirements on us, we have less resources from the Reg 4 department. So that money does need to be directed back to Reg 4. We need to work collectively together to see how we can improve the system. Because of the lack of resources, we see a lot of testers that are being certified that should not be certified. And we just want to work with the fire department to try to make this a better system and help to continue making our test worthwhile for the customers and worthwhile for the fire department as well. So these fees are a big burden to us and hinder our growth. So that's really all I have to contribute.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Madam President,
Yes.
how are the fees increased every year? Based upon what? And they are increased every year?
Yeah, there.
The increase is based on salaries, cap costs, which is the indirect costs of indirect costs and COLA. So it's based on that and expenses. So we factor all those in, and we do hourly based on how many inspectors that actually go out and do inspection. We get an hourly rate. So depending on how many hours it takes to do an inspection, we get the fee for that activity.
And so we're charging the businesses for those inspections.
Right.
And that's where the fee rises.
Mm-hmm.
But the fees don't go back into the process. That's always been a problem.
If I can speak, I think the Reg 4 program has, in the last 5 years, has grown. We outsourced Brycer, and Reg 4 inspections way back when used to be observed by the local fire company, the local fire station. We started using this new third-party vendor and their technology. The number of Reg 4s has dramatically increased across the city. And I agree with the gentleman's statements that a operating system tested every year reduces the likelihood of false alarms. It increases the likelihood of activating when there is a fire. It adds a level of safety to the occupants as well as to the firefighters that would respond to that location. What I heard is amongst the 3 speakers is a theme of we need to staff up more in that unit, and we're going to take a look at that because the workload has grown significantly. So we will do that.
Okay.
Thanks. Did you, I see the fire marshal. do you?
Sure.
have
Good
some
morning.
comments?
Good morning.
Hi, Kristen Crowley, Deputy Chief of our Fire Prevention and Public Safety Bureau. We've met with the industry a few times, so we hear them loud and clear in regard to what their needs are with the fees. What we talked about with these costs of special services, they go up every year because of the city process, but internally what we're looking at is how do we consolidate the number of certifications, which there's a total of 18, into a smaller amount, so there's less fees for the industry. We spoke about increasing our staffing within our Reg 4. That's coming forward with our budget request as well. So we understand that the program itself is growing, and we rely desperately on our testers that we certify. They're a big part of how we're able to maintain all of these systems citywide. So we'd be happy to give a report in the future if that's what you would like in regard to what our Reg 4 program would look like, and we could explain it in detail.
That's good. Thank you.
Good.
So we need to act on this, so we're but we would welcome another report. And they're welcome to comment on that as well. Comments are always welcome. All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
That would be good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay,
So somebody's going to move on this?
Second.
Move.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now on our regular agenda items, first one is report by the Department of the Fire Prevention Bureau, the CUPA program, basically, from January 1 till June 30th.
Good morning, Chief Terrazas, Commissioners, City Attorney. My name is Roy Song. I'm the CUPA Program Manager in the Fire Prevention Bureau. Today I'm providing an update on the CUPA program, primarily for the third and fourth quarter. However, because CUPA works on a fiscal year for inspections, I ran all the stats for the entire year in that report. The full programs being revised today includes the Hazardous Materials and Business Emergency Plan Program, the Underground Storage Tank Program, the California Accidental Release Prevention Program, and the Above Ground Storage Tank Program. So the CUPA regulates over 8,600 businesses every year for environmental compliance. In the Hazardous Material and Business Emergency Plan Program, we have 7,566 facilities that we inspect once every 3 years. Mm-hmm. In the Underground Storage Tank Program, we have 1,238 facilities, and they're inspected every year. The CalOut program, we have 45 facilities, and they're inspected every 3 years. In the Above Ground Tank Program, we have 105 facilities, which are inspected every 3 years. We reached all of our inspection goals for the fiscal year. We have a very healthy reinspection rate, and of course we wrote a lot of violations as well. So in alignment with the violations, we have to do enforcement. So for the enforcement part of the program, we ran 26 administrative hearings for $185,000 in penalties. We usually average out about 40 to 50 hearings per year and about $600,000 in penalties. That's pretty average. But we're down one inspector too, so of course the numbers went down. Regarding staffing levels, we have 38 positions within the CUPA. We have 32 of those positions filled right now. We have one vacancy, and then we have 5 positions waiting to go through civil service approval. Every 3 years, we get evaluated by the state. And so last week, I received notification from CalEPA that the evaluation has started. And so they have an initial records request, which we had 2 months to respond to. And then they'll be doing some on-site visits with us and going through the rest of the program. So that'll take us up until the end of January to finish that process. We're looking forward to the evaluation. We spent the last year and a half preparing for that, so we should do pretty well. The program's not just about inspections and enforcement. We're also involved in a lot of statewide projects and initiatives. And just a couple of examples. So the fire inspectors spoke, actually trained at the CUPA conference in 2019 in 5 separate classes. We have fire inspectors represented on all 5 statewide technical advisory groups. We are on the CUPA Forum Board, and on that board, we hold the roles of statewide legislative coordinator, statewide data steering coordinator, regional UST issue coordinator, Regional Cooper Forum Coordinator, and we're also on the Cooper Conference Planning Committee. So there's a lot going on in the Cooper program. I think we've done pretty well for the last 12 months, and right now, just going forward, consistency is key. We do get a lot of support, from Chief Terrazas and Chief Crowley and Chief Harvey and Chief Mathis. So without their support, it'd be a difficult job. So that makes my job a lot easier. Thank you. That concludes my report. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
No, just compliments. It's always good to hear you come now and give a report, and we're so far ahead.
Yeah.
And your department's very busy. I can hear all kinds of things going on. And so thank you for your leadership there, because I think that is what has made the difference.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
Yes, I also want to echo that as well. I love that you're looking forward to your review with the state. That's fantastic. I mean, these numbers are outstanding. So I just want to congratulate you on that. And I'm also happy to see that we're working with the participating agency as far as the hazmat issues that are overlapping with the two different agencies.
Right.
So yes, we're going to get a report back on that. It's in the city attorney's office now.
Yeah, so we actually have already reached out to LA County about renewing the PA agreement we have with them. So what happens is LA County does the hazardous waste inspections within the city. So in essence, there's kind of a duplication going on where we're already at those facilities doing hazmat inspections, underground storage tank inspections, and county is also going there for hazardous waste. And all the big Coopers across the state do all the programs on one Cooper. So the goal is to, kind of bring that back into our program here. And so I actually have sent out the renewal for the agreement out to county and just waiting on them to respond back to that. So it'll be a negotiation process.
Great, excellent.
Great. Good job.
Thank you very much.
All right. So somebody move 5A.
Okay. Madam President, I move BFC 19-089 to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So 5B is a report by the department on the fire prevention inspection activity, first to second quarter of 2019.
All right. Good morning again, everyone. Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Terrazas, Council, and Acela. My name is Kristen Crowley, and the Deputy Chief of our Fire Prevention and Public Safety Bureau, and I'm here today to present the Fire Prevention's Inspection Activity Report for the first and second quarters of this calendar year. We've submitted to you a 13-page report based off of our performance activity outlining 4 of our 5 sections within the Fire Prevention Bureau. These sections include our industrial commercial section, public safety section, fire development services section, as well as our administrative section. Our 5th section within the Fire Prevention Bureau is our CUPA section, in which Royce Long, our manager, had just reported on prior to this presentation. I will touch briefly on our overall performance. On page 1 of the report, there's a broad overview of the first 2 quarters of our inspections, which equates to 22% completion for the first quarter and 27% for the second quarter. And we continue to stress and prioritize the importance of completing our re-inspections. We've completed a total of 1,561 re-inspections for the first 2 quarters of this calendar year. We would also like to commend our sworn and civilian staff for stepping up and assisting with covering our vacant districts due to long-term injuries and illnesses. For the reported time frame, we actually had a total of 1,217 days of productivity that was lost from work due to injuries or illnesses. The consistent professionalism and dedication of our members to perform timely and high-quality inspections are evident in our current performance metrics. Focusing on a specific area of the report on page 2, in our industrial commercial section, I'd like to take some time to recognize our fire inspectors and our harbor industrial unit. They've exceeded our expectations by taking extreme ownership of our oil well program. We recognized last year that we underperformed, and we had a single point of failure with only 1 fire inspector responsible for conducting over 1,216 oil well inspections. We've implemented an aggressive training program to augment and provide additional harbor unit inspectors to assist. We've provided training for our oil well inspections. They've also been trained in witnessing the abandonment of oil wells and to address and improve on our succession plan. We've also eliminated the known single point of failure within the section. The additionally trained fire inspectors now share 1/3 of the oil wells, and we've redistricted the remaining workload to 1/3 to each of the inspectors. In addition, multiple inspectors have been trained to witness the oil well abandonment process, and I'm proud to share that the oil well program has currently completed 87% of the annual inspection, which is well over the 50% completion metrics. On page 6, overall, our public safety section has completed 48%, which is just 2% shy of our 50% goal. And even with a total of 258 days of productivity lost due to illness or injuries, the units within the fire prevention section, or I should say the public safety section, performed at very high levels, ranging from 35 to 53% respectively. And lastly, a few other highlights on page 12. Our administrative section continues to manage the state-mandated R1, R2 program, which requires all multi-residential apartment buildings consisting of 3 or more units, up to 15 units, to be inspected on an annual basis. The Fire Prevention Bureau has absorbed an additional 53,805 annual inspections through the use of our trained cadre members. And we have exceeded the 50% metrics and completed 65% of the overall inspections for the first and second quarters. We're confident that we will complete 100% of the mandated annual inspections. That's just a brief overview of the report, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
It's outstanding. I did have one question about the cannabis unit. It seemed like it had dropped to 15% the second quarter. Is that just because it's new? What were the issues there?
The cannabis, if you look at the total, that's on page 2, I believe, of the report. They have a total of 334 inspections, which is a very manageable amount of annual inspections, just because the whole cannabis on the legal side is very manageable at this point. There's phase 1 and phase 2 that are complete. We anticipate those overall inspections to go up, within the next year or two. So what we have to do at times is when we have vacant districts, we may have to pull an inspector from the cannabis unit to supplement another area. So we are very confident we'll be able to meet our metrics, which would be to complete the 334. So we're not too concerned about the lower numbers, where it's just only 15%. We oftentimes have to move staffing around to ensure that we're meeting our metrics in the higher amount of annual inspections.
And you said that they're going to, that's great. I think that you said they're going to increase the number of permits?
Eventually, yes. But at this point, what we're responsible for is 334 inspections on an annual basis for this calendar year.
Have they said it? Is it council that sets it?
I'm not sure. I know through the Department of Cannabis Regulations, they're in charge of the phases. So that's where our numbers will start to increase once additional businesses are certified to open up for business.
Okay. So my only question, just because we just heard from public comment about those inspections, where are they in this chart?
So that is under our administrative section, in which we can start to add charts in there so that we can show the amount of testing that we do, which is quarterly. Also, there's a number of metrics that we already look at on a weekly and monthly basis that we could just add to the report to show where our Reg 4 program is and how much work is being done. But we historically haven't put that in our report, but we'd be happy to add that.
Great. Okay. So that would be like page 11 is where it would be.
Right. It would be under page 11 or page 12, which is our administrative section. That's under that section in which they oversee the Reg 4s.
Right. Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No. Thank you.
Thanks. So can somebody move this one?
Madam President, I move BFC 19-090 to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So now it's the report by the department on the unmanned aerial system policy revisions.
Good morning, Madam President,
Good
fellow
morning.
commissioners,
Morning.
Chief Terrazas, Ms. Rafish. My name is Richard Fields, a battalion chief assigned to the Fire Prevention Bureau. I'm currently serving as the LAFD UAS Programs Coordinator. I'm here to present to you our request to make revisions, small revisions, to our current policy that will allow us to be in alignment with changes in federal regulations that allow us to access to federal grants. The legislation that we built our original policy on is the exact same legislation that is impacting the request for revisions today. The review committee, which was led by Cal OES and supported by FEMA, found that our policy didn't strongly enough address how we would manage looking at civil liberties, protecting civil liberties, and what we would do in the event that someone had a question or concern about their civil liberties being violated. And if you refer to page 9, page 10 of the new draft policy is the addition that we're requesting to make at this time, and it would be specifically about addressing privacy, and that's taken directly from the presidential directorate from 2015 again, which was the driving document for our original policy. The additions that we are requesting to make don't change the spirit of the program, our original intention or plan, and how we would deploy our UAS at this time. We were greatly intent on developing a regional program. Given the fact that UAS is expanding in public safety, we realized that as the public safety leader, especially in UAS at this time, that we start to set a foundation for how UAS is used in the region, especially as we continue to partner it with other agencies in hazard mitigation. And that was the reason that we started down this path of looking at using UOSI funds, SHISCAP funds for supporting UAS in the region. So that's the end of my report. Any questions at this time, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, so this is fine. This is, in fact, I mean, I hadn't looked at this draft policy since we adopted it like 2 years ago. And I thought we had like a lot of discussions about this. So I thought it was already in there. So I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't in our draft policy already.
It actually is. The language that deals with records retention, that deals with not impacting the public, not looking at that was sufficient at the time, and it was sufficient for the city attorney. And in the review between the department and them was perfectly fine at the time. We just had never been reviewed by at the federal level, looking at grants, and so.
So, I mean, the way that I see this is that this makes it explicit, but it's also kind of like the Constitution applies to us, which we know it does. So,
absolutely,
no complaint there. And the laws apply to us, and of course they do. So it's fine. I mean, I'm okay with this. There was other language though that we talked about that I kind of felt like about we would only share information like if it was pursuant to a court order.
Correct.
Stuff like that.
Yep.
But we can talk about that some more later.
Yeah, so this obviously we're going to be presenting again to you for our biannual report as you requested. That hasn't been scheduled, but those changes and a complete review by policy, a complete review of our policy, operations manual, as well as our training documents are going to be reviewed at our biannual report, and we can deep dive into the language. And we have a significant number of changes in language and phraseology that we're going to present for approval at that time.
All right. Well, it was a good opportunity to review the policy again because I hadn't done it. And I noticed that we also adopted, and I don't recall this at all, but we wanted the independent assessor to do a quarterly review of the UAS program, which sounds like a good idea. I mean, I'm glad we did it, but so we should probably implement that. It's another thing that we can talk about.
We have been in contact with her. We give her regular updates. We used to email her every time we had an after action or that we did a flight. She felt that was too much information. So upon her request, we give her our flight logs, access to any pictures that we do anytime that she requests.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think I speak for the commission when I say we're really supportive of this program, but, you know, we also feel like that takes a lot of vigorous oversight just because there is a huge concern about, like, overreach.
Of course.
And so, you know, we don't want that because it's only going to continue as long as you have public trust.
Absolutely.
So, good job with this. Thank you. There's no controversy here, I think.
Because the changes you're making are just to meet the federal requirements.
That's
that we
that's
can
correct.
apply for grants.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And I totally support the program. I can see it working when there are fires. We see those little, it's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Bill.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, Madam President, I move that the board approve the recommendations for BFC 19-092.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And 5D is we're going to continue it till the next meeting, next time we meet. So now we have 2 additional public comments for item 6, which is public comment period. The first person is Daniel Stevens from Local 709.
Thank you again. I just wanted to expand on the Reg 4 program and its importance to our industry. I'm also a business agent, but I've been an instructor for 20 years. We put inspection, testing, maintenance, and the apprenticeship, our continuing education for our journeymen. The training is very intense into this. To point out that the interaction with the department has been phenomenal. Inspector Novella and Captain Richardson have been to our facility. We just spent $1 million on a new fire pump room. We're going to build a mock-up for high rises so that we can train these guys and do our testing down there and make it convenient for everybody. In that process, meeting with them, we found out that the Fire Life Safety Committee was also formed. So we're labor, they're industry company owners, and so we were both attacking it from different sides, and we've kind of reached mostly about 100% common ground on this matter. So just pointing out the fact that we're here, the labor and the companies, to help out with a report or anything that we could do. One of the issues that has been brought up is Bricert, which is a phenomenal way to turn in reports. A lot of jurisdictions are monetizing Bricert. Pasadena, I think, is $49 per report. That's a way to maybe reduce the testing fees and maybe get some money coming in differently, because there are thousands and thousands of reports coming in through Bricert. So maybe a little bit of money coming in that way could reduce the fees. A lot of our members pay for these tests themselves, and then that opens the doors for them to get a nice service job with one of our contractors. So there are impacts down to the individual workers, and I think if we just put our heads together, we can equalize that. Thank you.
Great, thank you. So our next comment is for Daniel Venencia from AB and A Tests.
Hello again, Commission. I just wanted to talk about how these fees are being calculated. They're saying it takes 6 hours of fire inspector fees in order for one license. So they're saying it's 2 hours to take a test, 2 hours for an oral interview, and 2 hours for a field examination. Okay. The Chief Regulation 4 they combined the oral and the field examinations together. And then when the people are taking the tests, there's 50 people in a room taking a test with 1 or 2 different moderators. So it's not like individually getting 2 hours of your inspector's time for this license. Okay, yeah, we see a strong problem with that. The numbers, whatever you're paying for your license, it should be justified and validated, and it is it's not. I don't see that those numbers make sense. Again, it's really hurting our industry. It's really hurting our way to grow. And then as far as Brycer goes, Brycer's putting a lot of pressure on buildings to be tested. So it's opening the door for a lot of people doing insufficient testing, right? So they're not going through everything as they're supposed to because there's a lot of pressure being put on by Brycer. So again, I really feel like you guys should look at the program. We're here to help you guys. I was one of the youngest person to get my licenses. My dad was one of the oldest people, and we have a lot of knowledge in this. So we're here to help you guys, and please just take a look at the program, and I think that we could do a lot better with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's our last public comment, so we don't have anything further. We can adjourn.
Okay, I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It took me an hour and a half to get here from Woodland Hills.
What? Oh, you're coming from.